Hi, it's April from the Noble Garden, and I just want to talk to you guys about tomato diseases. Here in the South, so much stuff is common, and I took my tomato plants to my corporate extension office here in the county that I live in, and I talked to a horticulture guy because last year all of mine died from some mysterious wilt. They were fine and then they wilted. And my worst fear is bacterial wilt and some other wilt diseases that I have read about. And so this year when it happened again, I freaked out and wanted to know what it was and did some research and found out you have connections in your own county. I didn't even know that. So anyways, he told me to take a whole plant to him. He wanted the root system, everything about it. So I dug up the two that were the worst at that time, and I took to him. And one of the first things he wanted to look at was the root system. So you'll notice in this root systems, they're beautiful. They're not mangled up, they're not rotted. Now these plants have been sitting for a day or two. I apologize for that. I wish I could have ripped them out and showed them to you, but when I talked to him, he's like, gotta get those plants out of the ground, and I did, but then I had no time yesterday to make this video. So they're not as wet, but there is nothing showing any issues whatsoever with this. The other thing he wanted to look at, and this one's not the best one to show you, the one I'm holding up, because it has been sitting here for a while, but there's also, it's brown, but it's not rotted. Like it is completely solid. There's absolutely no rot in this stem. However, it does have these little sores on them, and that's just part of the disease that we're going to talk about. The next thing he wanted to do was look at some of these leaves. And unfortunately, these leaves have dried quite a bit since I've left them out here. Hopefully I can still show you guys what he wanted to do. So you'll notice how yellow this leaf is. And here we go, this one, here we go. I can still show you on this. And how, you see that? So the first thing he thought was blight, which is what I figured too, was blight. But what he said blight does is it is like a bullseye. It's ring like this, and it's like yellow halos. And you see there's no halos in that. It is just yellow and then brown. He had a book with him that he flipped through the pages, and we just kept comparing the stuff to. Instead, and I don't know if I can capture this on video, I'm going to look at some of the other leaves and see if I can find it on a more. When I showed you guys the video before I had it out, one of the leaves had a lot of black dots all over it. And that's what got him. He saw that leaf and he said, that's it. That's what it is. And he flipped a couple pages and he came up with bacterial speck, which as its name is a bacteria. There's not much I could do for it now that my plants have it. I cannot cure them from it. I told him that I started spraying them down with this copper fungicide that I had found, and he said that is probably why, because I told him, I said, bacterial speck, I said, wouldn't that be on my fruit? And he said, well, not necessarily, because I've been using that copper. I might have actually saved my fruit. You'll notice there's no dots on my fruit. Because now I'm pretty sure everyone's going to look up pictures of bacterial speck, and I'll put a few pictures on here for you guys at the end. But bacterial speck, when it gets real bad, it causes dots all over it. Actually, I do have maybe one dot right here, but your whole plant would have those dots all over it. Now this right here is just water damage. That's where the plant cracked a little bit and then it healed. There's no big deal about that right there. But that's what he suspects is doing it. And I asked him, I said, well, that made my plant wilt and die? He said, if it gets diseased enough, then eventually, yes, it could. So he told me that keep up with the copper. I was doing the copper almost every other week, but he thinks doing it every week is best. And then he wanted me to add one more thing to it. he wanted me to add this to my spray as well. So I am spraying both chemicals. Unfortunately, the copper one is organic. I looked into the other one, and from what I read, it's like a half and half. Some people believe it's organic, half not. I tried super hard to do organic, and if this one's not organic, it's the first product that I've used this year that's not. But if that is something, or I'm gonna lose all my plants. So I went ahead and actually sprayed that down tonight before making this video, because I have a few more wilting out there, and I'm hoping they wilt, but then at night they get better. So, but the other thing he did, and I want to do it for you guys right quick, is he split into my stem with a knife. I'm gonna point the camera down. So I watched him literally take a knife and just split that. Let's see here. There we go. He just split it straight up like this, very lightly, right underneath. It's a beautiful stem. The stem is gorgeous, and there's no milky substance coming out. There's nothing draining from it, which is what I had tested this myself, guys. Like, look at this, pretty and green. There is nothing. I had tested that myself. I had pulled up one. Let me show you guys me again. I had pulled up my own and actually tested it. And one thing you can do for like a bacterial wilt, which is what my worst fear was with this, from everything that I had looked into, you take a portion of it and you put it in a cup of water. Make sure your glass is clear, and if you see white substance coming out of it, then it's probably bacterial wilt. So I was very excited that it doesn't look like that. I'm still a little on the fence. Like, I trust this guy. He obviously knows what he's talking about. It was pretty interesting to meet him. I do still worry about it still being some other type of wilt disease, just because they're wilting and dying, but he said that it most definitely could still just be the bacterial speck, and so I'm just going to try and prevent it from taking over my whole garden. So if you guys are having any issues with your tomato plants, I highly recommend looking into your corporate extension office in your county and see if there is some horticulture person there, agricultural person there that can help you figure this stuff out. So I hope my video was helpful if anyone's having any problems. And just remember, if you live in the South or you live anywhere where it's hot and humid, there's not much you can do to prevent stuff. One thing you can do is don't overwater, overhead water. Of course, we can't stop the rain. Can't do nothing about rain. But always water your tomatoes from the bottom. And that's one of the mistakes I made. I got a little lazy this year and was letting sprinklers water my plants, and I didn't help the situation myself. But, all right, guys, that's what I wanted to share with you. Thank you for watching. And if you like my videos, please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.